It is a proven fact that only the very intelligent watch my YouTube channel. And I use the word proven specifically because I was watching a podcast this morning by two men that I really, really like. Neil Oliver, who's very famous here in the UK for being the host of Coast, which covers obviously the history of the British Isles. And he became very outspoken during COVID and the lockdowns era. And somebody that I was introduced through watching James Dellingpole's podcast, The Delling Pod, a chap called 𝐓𝐰𝐢𝐭𝐭𝐞𝐫. And I fully acknowledge, completely accept that I can come across and sound pernickety and perfectionistic, that I'm picking people up on little bits of grammar. But do you know what? People make very, very bizarre virtues out of certain things. And one of them is trying to sound clever. And in trying to sound clever, often all you'll come across is very trying. And I find it incredibly off-putting. I just can't help it. But during this podcast, 𝐓𝐰𝐢𝐭𝐞𝐫, who's a health expert, and he, instead of saying proven, which is the correct way of saying that word, and always has been, always will be, I heard him saying proven. I thought, I've never heard this before. And I encounter this quite a lot, where very, very basic things that have always been the case don't need to be improved upon and are perfectly functional and right. People seem to go about changing these things to stand out from the crowd. And I think we are making bizarre virtues out of things. And what I really value now as I get older, and I find helps me get far more done, is keeping things as simple as possible, being really straightforward. And as we speak, I'm embroiled in a bit of a Twitter discussion from a post that somebody made earlier, an American chap who was saying, as an American, I still don't know what the word quid means. And quid is an old-fashioned slang term for the British pound. And I said, well, how is it that we know what a buck is? And a lot of my Yankee cousins are chiming in to say, quote, US hegemony and American cultural supremacy. And okay, fair enough. They have a point. But as I reflect on the original tweet, I think, what a bizarre thing to make a virtue out of ignorance. And it's a weird thing, isn't it? But and the thing is, his strategy worked. Whoever this man is, I'm assuming it's a bloke, but his strategy worked because he got people engaging on the question. Yeah, it worked. He put out a simple tweet and he got a lot of discussion. And it is fascinating to get involved in these things. Is it healthy? Probably not. Probably not. Because what I'm always thinking is, well, more and more thinking, is this helping me to get to my end goals? Is it helping me to live the life that I want to lead, a peaceful, harmonious life? And the truth is, often, no, it isn't. But we get involved in the fray every now and then. But you see, this is another thing. When we talk about, we live in an age, rather, of contrasts. we seem to value contrast over harmony, and we also seem to value, in a similar way, fighting over argument. If you have an argument with somebody, people will automatically think, oh, you've been fighting with them. But the fight and the argument are very, very different propositions, because the fight is about trying to be right, but the argument is about trying to be truthful, to find the truth of a situation that we can agree on. And people have different approaches to life, but you will see that people love the fight. I think we do. I think it's coded into us. And when I get involved, in the rare cases that I do now, I can feel, we are to use the word somatically these days. It's a very fashionable word, as in the body. We can feel it in our bodies. The blood pressure rises, and it's a bit exciting, a bit exhilarating. But it is also creating more chaos, more anger. And is it virtuous? You know, if you wrestle with a pig, both of you get dirty, but the pig enjoys it. And maybe we've all got a bit of piggishness in ourselves. But you know, I do ultimately want to be a peaceful, responsible and productive man. And I, as narcissistic as it's going to sound, another fashionable word, narcissistic, self-absorbed or whatever, I do like to examine how I work as a man, and decide more firmly than I've ever done before what I will get involved with and what I won't. And you can observe in people's behaviour that when they get involved in the fight, you can tell that they get a bit more enthusiastic, they get a bit more lit up. But I don't necessarily want the adrenaline surge. I want the joyful surge. I think it's more virtuous. And I think it helps more people to realise that there's another way of living that isn't drama creating, that isn't antagonistic, but is searching for the truth. And that is the most important thing in all of our intellectual and cultural pursuits. What's the best way to live the most peaceful life and show as many people as possible how to do that? There are ways of doing things, and we're always learning how to do them. Keep walking your paths, my friends. Do it peacefully, do it joyfully, and find, as much as you possibly can, the humanity in everything. Because of course, things are better when we work together.